Hello everyone, and welcome again to another Teacher Joseph podcast. Well, right now I'm standing in the high streets of my local town here in the UK, and I wanted to describe for you what I'm looking at. Hopefully it'll help with giving directions and also picking up a few phrases. So directly opposite me right now is the pharmacy. The pharmacy, of course, is the place where you buy your medication. Unlike other countries, here, in order to get medication, or at least most medication, you need to first go to the doctor and he gives you a printed authorization. We call them prescriptions. You take that to the pharmacy and then the pharmacy will give you the drugs. In American English they're called drugs, but in British English they're simply called medicine. You need to be careful with that, because if you confuse drugs with medicine, here in the UK people may think you're talking about illegal drugs, because that's usually how we use the word drugs. So I'm standing opposite the pharmacy, and we sometimes call them chemists. Pharmacies are the ones who are allowed to dispense medicine. Chemists, on the other hand, some of them are just there to sell you suntan lotion and maybe some paracetamol, something like that, but they can't actually give you any medicine from the actual pharmacist because they don't have one. So we have a few big pharmacies, big chains in the UK. The one I'm looking at is called Lloyd's, and we also have Boots Pharmacy, which is really famous here in the UK. You can hear it's a little bit windy here, so I'm trying to keep you out of the wind. So that's opposite, okay? I'm standing in front of something which is called the Secret Collection. I don't know why they called it that, because it's a museum and there's nothing secret about it. So that's the other thing. To my right, I can see people walking up and down the high street, which is pedestrianised. And also to my left, there's people walking down the street as well. Diagonally opposite, I can see the bank, as well as the War Memorial. Every town in the UK has a war memorial to remember those people who were killed during the First and Second World War. I'm hearing the church bell in the background there. The Abbey is just a few blocks down, and also I can see the remains of an old cinema, which is all boarded up right now. There's a shop called CEX selling second-hand DVDs, and I'm also standing to my right is a pound shop where everything is a pound. These shops are very handy for students, but the quality is really bad. I think most countries have these. Maybe you have Euro stores. They're very good, but you have to be very careful of quality. You can hear the seagulls crying in the background there, I think. Maybe not. I hope you can hear them. It's just different birds making a noise and making a mess as well. Okay, so other things that I want to tell you. Well, just looking up, I can see some wonderful architecture all across the skyline. These buildings are quite high, and I'm looking up at some Victorian buildings which are 3 or 4 stories high. The trees are blowing quite wildly in the breeze, so it's obviously a very windy day, and you can hear the wind as well, I think, in my podcast. I can see W.H. Smith, which is our leading news agent. I don't know who buys printed newspapers anymore, but clearly some people do. I think when you're older, what happens is that you want a routine of going out to see the same faces and the same places. So the newsagents and the library are still very important places, but of course young people now don't really use these facilities. That W.H. Smith, in order to compensate for the fact that it doesn't sell many newspapers anymore, it now has become a post office. Who uses post office now as well? Who uses the post office? That's another question. But it's there at the back of W.H. Smith's. And I think they also operate an Amazon pickup point there. I think the post office has some agreement with Amazon as well. Next to that is Sports Direct, which is a sports shop where you can buy all kinds of sports clothing. Sports clothing here is just casual clothes, I think. So that, I think, is very useful for all of us, not only sporting people. They have pictures of beautiful men and women in the window, but all the people going in and out of there are a little bit like me, a little overweight, just wanting to buy some comfortable t-shirts. And that's it. So the high street is quite dead because it's been largely replaced with an American style mall which sits 6 or 7 miles outside of town where everyone goes. So there's no supermarkets here, for example, no place to buy fresh fruit and vegetables, which is a great shame. You'd really have to be prepared to travel to buy anything. Right, that's it. So I hope you found this helpful, and let's talk again soon. See you. Bye.